Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Of course, my name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, of course, a brand new episode of Blitz Box. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Thank you so very much for the amazing support on the last episode. It hit over 970 likes in just a matter of 24 hours, which was absolutely incredible. If we could hit that, that would be incredible. You know what? I'm looking at the number 1091 right now in the top left corner. If we could hit that like count, that would be spectacular. With that in mind, of course, you might notice, hey, Blitzwinger, this looks a little different than what it used to. And you'd be correct, because I don't know why the game, or most likely it was my fault, I missaved the file or lost the toy box file or whatever. So as you can see, there's a little bit of an issue because I had to rebuild everything all over again. Now, I tried to do my best to make sure that it looks about as similar as it did on the last episode, and I think I did a decent job of that, so hope that you guys won't mind that little mistake. Now, I want to address one quick little thing because a lot of you guys started giving awesome, absolutely incredible suggestions on the last episode of Blitzbox, which I loved. So thank you so very much for doing that. That's incredible. Keep it coming, and it really helps keep me motivated and come up with even more interesting ideas. And one of the ideas that was suggested was from Moza, or maybe it's Moza and Draken Gaming Studios. That's the name of the account, so I'm not sure if it's a he or she, or maybe a combination of the two. And he or she or them suggested that we should do a custom theme for each one of the islands. So the idea is that for each island as we go along, we would customize it to look a little bit different. So for example, this island we could make, since it's got kind of like a water-like effect, maybe something in that. Oh, I actually kind of like that. That does look pretty sweet. We got the fairy tale design. Ooh, you know what? I actually kind of really like the way that this looks because of the shape that we got for this island. As you can see, it looks kind of nice. So we'll keep this one the default one. But as we go along from island to island to island, and we continue customizing them, we will certainly change the theme. So, you know what? Since there's this really conveniently placed island right next to us, let's go on ahead and drop on down over to here. We're going to use our magical wand, of course. By the way, I forgot to mention, we got the Green Goblin helping us out today. And then we're going to get to doing a little bit of styling work. So we got Nicelander, which is pretty nice. I definitely like that quite a bit. Ooh, that's cool. We've got Dusty Crophopper's Runway, the Buried Treasure. Ooh, that'll be cool. And the Desert Landscape, the King Louis's Ruins. I think we're going to go with the Metroville as our next base. I think that looks pretty nice, all things considered. And now, before we get to actually build stuff, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick little detour here. We're going to head over here. And then we're going to head to, I think, terrain. Yep. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and just buy up a few of the parts here because, well, I just think it's a good idea for us to unlock some of the stuff. Ooh, three-way sewer with a ladder. That sounds interesting. There's a small terrain corner. Then there's a small terrain wedge. Then there's a small terrain inverse wedge. Let's try to clear out all of the items right down at the bottom here. That would be great if we got to do that. It looks like we're going to be just a couple points short from getting all of that filled out, but that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. So now we got some more parts to play around with and mess around with, which is really, really nice. I'm definitely glad to see that. But we will, of course, now think of what we want to put down over here. So why don't we go ahead and bring up some of the set pieces, take a look at some of the set pieces, because there might be something. Ooh, yes, Goo Volcano, definitely going down. All right, so luckily it seems to fit just right. Looks like it's perfectly in line with our design here, which is lovely. Now, of course, we need to add the little exterior to this. So we're going to need to go to our terrain options, then go to our massive rounded cliffs. And of course, we could use different types of cliffs for it, like the small Schmarrow. I almost said Smarrow. I did say Smarrow. I should correct myself. But I don't know what a Smarrow is. I just came up with it right at that very moment. Ooh, okay, that's cool. I like that design. It's pretty cool looking. It's definitely different. I'm not sure how good it would look from that angle. But let's see. Is there anything else that we could use? There's some bridges. There's a cliff ledge. So that's pretty nice. We could use that if we'd like. Just lay that out as a pattern. I think that would look cool. right, as one of the sides. Because again, I want to make the islands feel different, make them feel unique, so that every single island in our fun land just looks a little bit different, just looks a little bit more unique than the previous, and therefore, of course, it doesn't get repetitive as a result of that. So let's see. Do I... Are there tiny little cliff? There's got to be something that you could use to, like, connect these. And I'm really not seeing anything to do so. Of course, on the back here, or on certain sides, we're going to utilize this particular design. So we're going to just bring that... Wait, why is it not being brought down? Is this the lowest we can go? No, it can't be the lowest. You can bring it up, but you can't bring it any further down. Uh-oh. That is not good news. That is not good news at all. Ooh, we could do that. That would look kind of neat. Right? If we did this, ooh, this would give it an absolutely unique design. Look at that. Bam. Right? Again, making it all feel very, very different to one another, which is fantastic by my book. All right. And then, let's see. How do I make... I guess what we could do is maybe lay out one or two of these. What do we put over here, though? We need something tiny right there. Maybe the rocky layered block would fit. How about the small floating cliff? Excellent. Now, the only issue is that would look weird, but if we did this, it wouldn't look weird. Right? If we just wrapped it up. Oh, man, I love this. This is going to look super duper sweet. Just the entire shape of that is going to be so very unique. That's going to give it a bit of a different flavor, so to speak. All right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap that in like so. And that will go like that. Now, let's see. How do I make this feel good and not look completely terrible or weird? How about this large rounded cliff? Could we just position that right there? If we put down that, and then where's that little rounded thing that we just used a moment ago? Was it? I think it might have been one of these right down here. I could have sworn it was called... No, that's not it, but that could look cool too. Man, all these really cool items. This is really sweet. I love this. Okay, wait, that's the wide one. Let's try the small one. Okay, that's the one we need. So, we're going to try to align that just right. And once again, do the same exact wraparound kind of technique on this. And of course, this goo volcano is absolutely incredible. And if you've never seen it, you'll see it in action in just a moment. But it's really, really cool. Because what it allows you to do is just really sweet. So, I'm very, very excited to share that with you guys in just a moment here. But first, we need to make sure that everything is connected, or at least somewhat connected. Alright, and then we're also going to need to run around and re-theme everything, so that'll take a little moment here. I guess I could just push that onto here, and then that fits against that, and there we are. Okay, so I know it looks a little bit strange right now because it's all not... Whoa. Uh-oh. We're not really where I want it to be, but okay. Ooh, look at that. New concept art. That looks gorgeous. All right, so now what we will do is we will go ahead and theme this up. And I think we use the Metroville cityscape, right? So that looks much better when it's transitioning like that. I wish I could go and press theme all, but the problem is that's going to theme everything on the entire map, which is not what I want to do, because I want to only theme these particular few little islands right here. So luckily we could just run around and quickly basically just put it all together. It's not really that much of a process. Now the cool thing is that we could also add some really cool items later on onto these little islands, like maybe some sort of sitting placements or arrangements for the citizens of Funland and Blitzbox to hang out in, which is pretty cool. Another thing that I also wanted to mention, and a lot of you guys have been asking me about, especially on the last few episodes, is Blitzwinger. Do you think you can actually upload this Blitzbox and share it on the community creations? Yes, I certainly could. good. In fact, that is certainly something that I will consider doing. Maybe I'm thinking like episode 25, you know, so that it's like a nice kind of complete number. I was thinking episode 50, but I think that will be too long to wait. So I think that within the next 7 episodes or so, you should see maybe version 1 of Blitzbox being uploaded so that you guys could mess around with it as well. And then you could send in all of your cool submissions as well for me to check out and stuff like that. Which, by the way, if you build some sort of a custom toy box and you upload it and you want me to check it out, you could definitely let me know in the comment section below, and then I will try to do my best to download that Blitzbox, that box, toy box, and then check it out in maybe a future custom toy box showcase. So again, if you have any toy boxes that you would like for me to check out, just go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Hey, Blitzwinger, this is a toy box that I built. It's under this name, blah, blah, blah. Go check it out, and then I would certainly consider doing so. All right, so it seems like we've only got about a couple of islands here left to put together, and then we've got our entire island assembled. Then I'll show you what the goo volcano does, which I'm really, really pumped for, because that thing is just awesome. And, all right, let's go ahead and Metroville Cityscape these last few little islands. So here we go. Looks like there's about 3 more to go, I think. I believe so, at least. All right. Here we are. Uh-oh. Looks like I just skipped one. Got a little bit. Oh, no, never mind. There's actually a couple more, because there's the big triangular shape up ahead over there that I've forgotten about. All right, so now there are 3 shapes left. Here's the 3rd to last, and 2 more lovely pieces left over to finish our arrangement for this island. So, of course, this arrangement is way more complex than the usual ones will be, which is why it was a little bit more time-consuming than usual, but I think it turned out awesome. I think it's going to give this really unique. It's one of those things that it seems like a tiny little detail, but I think it's those tiny little details that make the biggest of difference in the latter half, and you will see that certainly come to fruition. So, I could have sworn that this is the mountain that had the goo, the green goo and the pink goo coming out of it. For some reason, I'm not seeing any goo, per se. Am I the only one that's missing the goo, guys? Or are you guys missing the goo as well? Because I certainly am not seeing it. Let me go ahead and swap out to... I'd like to put on the boost pack, actually, so that I could go ahead and hop up here. I could have sworn that this was the island that gave you the goo stuff, but for some reason... I'm not seeing it anywhere, so that's kind of odd. That's a little odd. I wonder, maybe I confused the islands. Let's check. Because I certainly have done that before, so that's certainly a possibility. I just find it kind of weird that I would have made such a silly error. But then again, definitely possible, so I'm not going to doubt myself there. Let's see. I could have sworn that this was the one place that if you build it... Yeah, you see, there is goo running down the island there. Maybe I'm thinking of a different display. Because it looks the same, but yet I am not seeing any of that green and blue goo. Sorry, green and pink goo. That's what I should be saying. It might be in a different category. That's possible, 100%. But what I think we can do for now is to begin populating the goo volcano. So let's see. Let's go ahead and drop in some citizens onto the goo volcano. Here we go. We got Mr. Donald Duck. Let's throw in a Venom in here, because why not? He could hang out over here. Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey. Hero. And, of course, Baymax as a result of that. Oh, wait. Those guys didn't spawn in. I made an error. There we go. All right, so those guys are going to hang out, because, of course, we want to have citizens around here. Now, of course, let's go ahead and spawn in some female characters as well, so that there's a nice balance there. Let's go ahead and spawn Phineas, Ferb, Mrs. Incredible, Violet as well, and who else? Oh, maybe Mike Wazowski. That should be pretty cool. And Sully. Sully spawned in, but there's Mike. All right, and maybe from the Cars franchise, we'll throw in Lightning McQueen. And then, why not Rapunzel? That seems like a pretty good idea. All right, so that is another little island right here that we have now populated, so that's awesome. I really love that. Of course, it's not a lot of people running around here, but it will increase over time as we add in more and more people onto here. All right, so let's see. Maybe there is some decorating that we could do with maybe some nice trees, right? So I actually think maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to go ahead and put down... Oh, what? You can't do that? All right, maybe a nice little bushel of trees. Like different designs of trees, right? Different colored trees. Maybe a little bit of red in there as well. Throw that in there. Just for good measure, for some lovely color. Oh, whoops. Where was I going to put that tree? Huh. That's a little odd, because it seemed like I could have put it closer before, but now I can't do that. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess that's the closest I could put it, so let's put it over there. And then let's take this yellow aspen tree. And we will put another one right down in the corner. That's some beautiful color right there. That looks lovely. That looks absolutely fantastic. I love that. That looks great. And now let's go to decorations department. And I think this is where the benches are located. I want to say that that is the case. Now we have these benches, which are cool. And we could certainly use some of them. So let's go ahead and do exactly that. We'll throw one in there. And one in here. So I guess maybe, you know what, the volcano here is going to be more of like a tourist attraction where you would come here to just check it out. You know, like maybe, oh wow, there's this goo volcano that exists. And, you know, it's like one of those things that you go to see as a tourist attraction and then you check it out. And then once you're done, you could obviously hang out over here, just relax a little bit and then head back on your merry way to the main island, which will be pretty sweet. So, with that in mind, of course, there you guys have it. This will conclude another Toy Box video. I certainly do hope that you guys enjoyed it. As always, you can leave your suggestions and ideas for the future episodes in the comments section below. We're definitely going to need to think of something as to how you're going to get off this island in a efficient manner, I guess would be the right word, right? Because right now, I'm not really sure that we have a very good way of doing so. Because if I fly this way, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to fly straight into the island. Yeah, this is not looking good. As you can see, I'm just going to fly face first into this. Watch this. Ouch. Yeah, that's not fun. So we'll definitely need to figure out some sort of a way to do this better. But look at that island. I mean, that is gorgeous. And look at these two. They are just looking lovely. I love this. It's really, really a ton of fun. I love how we're doing this little by little, and slowly but surely we will assemble an absolutely wonderful, wonderful fun land to explore. So with that in mind, thank you guys so very much for watching. Of course, as always, if you have opinions, thoughts, and suggestions for what we should be assembling next time, what do you think you want to see on these next few islands? We've got an island right here. There's an island right here. My thoughts is that on the opposite side, because a lot of people are saying, hey, what you going to do on the opposite side? I really want to build a racetrack. I think that would be a ton of fun. So basically on the other side of this, we will have a racetrack. This main area is going to have like a food court and stuff like that, so you could eat and get some energy back after hanging out on all these fun rides and attractions. With that in mind, of course, thanks all for watching, guys. Have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will indeed see you folks later, alligators. Bye-bye, guys.